In this video, we are going to discuss about the President of India. Article 52 to 62 deals about the qualifications required to become a president and how such type of the election process can be conducted for the position of the president, and the impeachment process nothing but how the president can be removed from his position and the powers and the authority the president enjoys in the Indian democratic process. And let us see in this video the entire details about the President of India. And who is the President of India? We say the Indian President is the head of the state. If you observe in the Indian democratic system, here we have the two heads. One is referred as the President, who is referred as a nominal head. On the other hand, there is a Prime Minister who is referred as the real head. The nominal executive and the real executive we refer, and the president is referred as a head of the state, the first citizen of the India, and he is the first citizen of India and is the symbol of the solidarity, the unity and integrity of the nation, and he is a part of the union executive along with the vice president, the prime minister, the Council of Ministers and the Attorney General of India. That means, if you observe the Indian democratic structure, we have some of the executives here, and we refer all these positions are the members of the Union Executive. The Union Executive contains the members are the President is one of the executive, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers and the Attorney General of India. All these positions together we refer it as a members of the Union Executive, and we refer the President is one among them. That's why he is referred as a executive, and he is also referred as a first citizen of India. And the President, how the election process of the president can be conducted and how the president can be elected in the Indian democracy. And there is no direct election process for the Indian president. We refer the indirect way of election, and an electoral college can be created to elect him, and the electoral college is responsible for the presidential elections. And who all are this electoral college? Who are the members of this electoral college? If you see, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha elected members, it contains all the elected members, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. That means out of the total members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, we take only the elected members. That means we don't consider the nominated members here, only the elected members can be considered into the electoral college. And along with that, the legislative assemblies of the states, that means the legislative assembly here nothing but the lower house of the each state, and the legislative council have no role. That means if you see within the state legislatures, only the members of state legislative assembly involves in the election process of the president. The legislative council members does not take role in the election process of the president. And the legislative assemblies of the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry. That means if you observe the state legislatures and the union territories, especially the union territories for which you have the legislative assemblies. All the union territories does not contain the legislatures. Only Delhi and Puducherry contain the legislative assemblies under the union territories criteria. That's why overall the electoral college to elect the president contains the elected members. All these are involves only the elected members. That means the nominated members does not have a role to play in the election process of the president. All the elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states, along with that the elected members of the legislative members of union territories, especially the Delhi and Puducherry. All these people gets involved in the election process of the president. And the value of vote of an MLA is given below. That means if you see, we said the members of state legislative assembly gets involved in the election process, the elected members. So how their vote can be calculated? What is the value of each MLA vote in the election process of the president? Let's see. The value of the vote of an MLA is considered as the total population of the state, total population of the state divided by total number of elected members in the state legislative assembly into 1 by 1000. If you calculate with this formula, whatever you get, the value of each and MLA can be calculated, and this is the value of a vote of an MLA in the election of the president. And what is the value of vote of an MP? That is the total value of all MLA votes in all states divided by total number of elected members in parliament. That means this is the value of the vote of an MP. If you calculate the total value of all the votes of MLAs in all the states divided by the total number of the elected members in parliament, if you calculate, then you will get the value of the vote of each MP. Then this is the value of the vote of MLA and this is the value of vote of an MP. And who does not participate in the presidential election? First you have seen the elected members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the elected members of the state legislative assembly, the elected members of the union territories, especially those who contain the legislatures like the Delhi and Puducherry involves in the election process of the president. And who does not participate in the presidential election? Let's see here. The nominated members of Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha does not involve in the election process of the president, and the nominated members of state legislative assemblies and the state legislative council overall, whether it is a elected or whether it is a nominated, altogether the members of legislative council does not participate in the election process of the president, and the nominated members of the UTs, especially Delhi and Puducherry, does not participate in the election process of the president. That means if you see who all are not involved in the election process, overall together entire members of legislative councils is nothing but the upper houses within the states which state contain the bicameral legislature. That is the state wherever you have the two houses in the states, under that the upper house, the state legislative council members does not take place in the election process of the president, and along with that the nominated members, whether it is the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, and along with that the state legislative assembly members also does not participate in the election process of the president, and along with that the nominated members of union territories, especially Delhi and Puducherry, does not involve in the election process of the president. The election process of the president and the electoral college is very important for the exam purpose. And along with that, what is the term period of the presidential office? If you see, once the president gets elected, he holds the office for the time of the 5 years of time period. that is the 5 years he will enjoy the position, and at times whenever his time period is expired, at that condition he will continue in that position after the 5 years time period also, unless and until the next president holds the position. Suppose the presidential time period is over, the 5 years of time period, normally under the normal circumstances the elections must be conducted before the expiration of the time period of 5 years, but certain conditions, maybe the emergency sort of conditions, if the Election Commission of India was unable to conduct the elections of the president before the expiration of the time period, under that condition the existing president continues in that position unless and until the new president occupies the chair. That means normally it is a 5 years, but under some of the extraordinary conditions he will even enjoy the position after the 5 years of time period unless and until the next person holds the chair. And in our democratic system, the president, whoever is existing president or even the retired president, they are eligible for the re-election process here n number of times. There is no such type of the limitation in the time period or even on the number of terms the person can enjoy the position. But in the American context, if you see, the president can enjoy that position only for the 2 term periods, not more than that. But in India, we don't have such type of the restriction here. The candidate can go for the re-election process n number of times. So that is actually the term period of the presidential office. And what is the principle of election used here? That is, what type of the method used for the election of the president? That is the proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. This is indirect way of election, the proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Based on this method, the president can be elected. And how does the voting takes place? That is, it is a secret ballot system. It is not an open ballot system. It is a secret ballot system of the voting. And what type of the quota of votes is required for the presidential election? We say it is a total number of valid votes polled, total number of valid votes polled divided by 2, that is half plus 1. That means overall whatever is the votes polled, out of that we consider only the valid votes. We never go for the invalid votes polled, and while counting we consider the total valid votes, and out of that half plus 1. That means the simple majority support is required to get the president to be elected in the democratic system of India. That means the total number of valid votes polled divided by 2 plus 1. This is nothing but half of the valid votes plus 1. Simple. This is the quota required to become a president. And who involves in the disputes matter relating to the election of the president? If in case any type of the dispute arises regarding the election of the president, then who will involve in such type of the decisions? That is the Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court decision is final. That is, after the election of the president is face some sort of the disputes here, that case can be dealt by the Supreme Court, and whatever the Supreme Court gives verdict on that is final. But in case after the president came into that position and after some days, after some time, if he went under the disqualification by the Supreme Court verdict, under that condition, though you made the election of the president is null and void, that means invalid, but still whatever the actions he has taken before such type of the invalidation of the election is going to be continue further. That means that it is remain valid even after such type of the removal process has done to the president. That means we give such type of dignity to the position of the president. If in case even his election was declared as null and void, but still whatever the actions he has conducted, we give the utmost respect to that, and it remains valid even after his removal process. So this is overallly how the election process of the president can be done. And if I can able to summarize all these things, we say the election process of the president, it was a indirect process of election, that is the proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote, and along with the indirect way of election, it will go with the electoral college. That electoral college contain the elected members of the parliament, that is both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha elected members. Along with that, the elected members of the state legislative assemblies, and along with that some of the union territories where we have the legislatures like the Delhi and Puducherry, all those elected members also gets involved in the election process of the president. If you observe here, we are stressing out on the point only the elected members gets involved here, and the legislative council, though it is elected or nominated members, does not take part in the election process of the president. And while calculating, we even give the value of the vote to the MLAs and even the MPs, and based on that each value of the vote can be calculated. And if any such type of the dispute suppose has occurred in the election process of the president, at that time the Supreme Court involves and its decision we consider it as a final. So this is overallly the election process of the president. And what are the qualifications required to become a president? And let's see here. A candidate has to meet some of the qualifications, like he should be an Indian citizen. The first and foremost criteria to be fulfilled to become a member of the president, that is he should be a Indian citizen, and he must complete the age of the 35 years here, and he should qualify the conditions to be elected as a member of the Lok Sabha. That means he must fulfill such type of the requirements to become a member of Lok Sabha, and he should not hold any office of profit under any central government, state government, or any public authority. Public authority here we refer wherever the government has a share under that one. That means overallly, if you want to contest for the election of the president, you must remember you should be a citizen of India. You should have completed that type of the requirements to become a member of the Lok Sabha, and you must complete the age of 35 years, and along with that you should not hold any such type of office of profit in any of the government authorities, like this, whether it is a central government, state government, or wherever the government is holding some of the shares here, wherever you should not be a member of that. So all this type of the qualifications is required to contest the election for the president. And if in case after you become a president, if you are holding any such type of office of profit, you must resign that one to be continue as a president of India. And along with that, what are the conditions of the president's office? And here there are the few conditions to be noted down. He should not be a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. That means the president, whoever is enjoying that position, he should not be a member of either of the houses, that is the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. Maybe you get a doubt, but we read he must fulfill the conditions required to become a member of Lok Sabha. Here you have to remember, he is not a member of the Lok Sabha or not a member of Rajya Sabha too, but still he should only fulfill the conditions to become a member of Lok Sabha. The point to be noted down here, that is he is not a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. The only condition is he must fulfill such type of the requirements to become a member of Lok Sabha. And if any case, any such type of the member of parliament, whether it is a Lok Sabha member or Rajya Sabha member, if they elect as a president, then immediately after they become a president, they vacate the house, that is the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha house, they must vacate to be continued as a president. And he should not hold any office of profit. In case any such type of office of profit is holding by any person who has become a president, then immediately they have to resign to such type of the office of profit, and he can enjoy the residence, that is we refer it as Rashtrapati Bhavan. We all have idea about Rashtrapati Bhavan, and this type of Rashtrapati Bhavan he can enjoy without having any payment of the rent. So all this type of the conditions can be fulfilled to become a president and to enjoy such type of the position further in the presidential office. And the parliament decides his emoluments, allowances and the privileges. That means the parliament with certain law, it decides what is the salaries to be withdrawn by the president and what type of the privilege he can enjoy and what type of the emoluments, nothing but the extra provisions the president enjoy, and all this can be done with the parliamentary law. The parliament can place such type of the bill for the increasing or decreasing of such type of the salaries, and based on that the president can get all the required emoluments and allowances, and the parliament cannot diminish his emoluments and allowances during his term of office. Once he holds that position, he can't reduce any such type of the privileges provided by the parliament, and he has given the immunity from any type of the criminal proceedings even in his personal acts. That means no criminal proceedings can be taken against the president unless and until he enjoys that office, but the civil proceedings can be taken against the president, but such type of the civil proceedings can be done only after giving 2 months of the prior notice. That means the criminal proceedings outrightly you can't take care when the president is enjoying that position, but in matters relating to the civil proceedings, then we can take the civil proceedings forward, but only the 2 months of prior notice must be given to the president, then only you can take care the civil proceedings ahead. That means you should not directly go and handcuff such type of the person on the roads, that means the president, and even you can't enter into the Rashtrapati Bhavan and you can't handcuff the president the way you want. Why? Because we refer he is a first citizen of India and the utmost respect can be carried out to that dignitary position. That's why we give such type of the immunity to the president. No such type of the proceedings can be taken care in the civil criminal sense, but if it is a civil sense, then 2 months of prior notice must be provided to the president. So all this type of the immunity was provided to the president. Then what is the procedure for the impeachment of a president? What type of the procedure is there for the impeachment? We refer impeachment is nothing but the removal process of the president. We refer the removal process of the president as a impeachment of the president. And how such type of the impeachment process can be initiated? The only condition required to impeach the president here is the violation of the constitution. That means the Indian president can be removed on which ground? That is only one ground, the violation of the constitution, and the Indian constitution contains no definition for such type of the violation of constitution, but it didn't give any such type of clarity what is mean by violation of constitution. But in case any such type of the constitution provisions, if he violated and he has done his duty against to the provisions inscripted under the constitution, on that ground of violation of constitution, we can initiate the process of the impeachment against the president. And the impeachment process of the president is given below. Let's see how the impeachment process can be initiated. First of all, The impeachment process can be initiated in either of the houses, that means whether it is a Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, we can initiate any such type of the process. And first, we have taken the Lok Sabha as a first house to initiate the impeachment charges, and later we forwarded the same to the Rajya Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha go for such type of the inquiry, and later such type of the resolution whatever the Lok Sabha has given in the form of the removal process, then the investigation can be done, and if it gets proved, the president gets removed. Let's see the process of the impeachment here. And already I referred, any of the house, whether it is the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, can initiate the impeachment process. Here I am considering the Lok Sabha has initiated the process, so that you can understand how the impeachment process can be done. And let's see, the Lok Sabha initiate the impeachment charges, and whenever the Lok Sabha initiate the impeachment charges, the one criteria it must fulfill, that the 1/4 of the members of Lok Sabha must sign for such initiation. That means before you are introducing such type of the impeachment process in the Lok Sabha, for such type of the bill, we refer it as resolution. Why? Because it is of very importance in sense, that's why we refer it as a resolution. So such type of the resolution must be accepted for the introduction by 1/4 of the members of that house, and once the 1/4 of the members give such type of the acceptance for the impeachment process, then 14 days prior notice can be provided to the President of India. You must inform to the President, sir, on this particular day the Lok Sabha want to introduce such type of the resolution for his removal process. So the 14 days advance notice can be given to the President for his removal process, and the Lok Sabha passes the impeachment charges with 2/3 of the majority and send it to Rajya Sabha. That means the Lok Sabha, once they got the permission from the 1/4 of the members for the initiation, once it has given the 14 days of the advance notice, and immediately the Lok Sabha must pass the type of the bill with 2/3 of the total membership. That means out of the total strength of the Lok Sabha, the type of the bill must be passed with the 2/3 of the total membership. Here we don't refer it as a special majority. Special majority is altogether different. The special majority is referred as 2/3 of the members present and voting, and 50% of the members of the total membership of the house. That is special majority. We refer it for the constitutional amendment. Here I am not referring it as a special majority. It is altogether different. That is 2/3 of the total membership of the house. It's not a special majority. 2/3 of total membership of the Lok Sabha has passed the bill, and later it sends that one to the Rajya Sabha, and the Lok Sabha, after giving the signing the charges, and passes that one to Rajya Sabha for the investigation. And when you pass that one to the Rajya Sabha, the Rajya Sabha investigate the charges. That means while the Rajya Sabha is investigating the charges, the President has the right to sit in the proceedings and defend himself. That means whenever the Rajya Sabha is investigating the charges, we give one power to the President here. If he wants to sit in the house, he can sit and he can defend against himself. Whatever the charges or the allegations imposed against the President is not of true in nature. So he can defend in any sense such type of the charges which are investigating by the Rajya Sabha. And the Rajya Sabha, if in case proved and he was suffering from such type of the violation of the constitution, and the Rajya Sabha also passes the bill again with the 2/3 of the overall membership of the house, and once the Rajya Sabha also passes the bill with such type of the 2/3 of the total membership, then on that particular day, the president automatically gets removed from his position. If you observe here, it's not like an ordinary bill. You don't require the presidential assent here. Why? Because the president removal process itself is under consideration. That's why you don't require the presidential assent in this bill. Such type of the resolution, first you can introduce in either of the houses. If you are introducing that one in the Lok Sabha, suppose I just taken it here the example, you can write the either way around, that is you can introduce that one even in the Rajya Sabha also, but here just your understanding sake we took it as a introduction in the Lok Sabha. Such type of the resolution must be supported by the 1/4 of the members of the house, and the 14 days prior notice can be given. And once such type of the notice can be given, and the Lok Sabha must passes that bill with the 2/3 of the total majority, and after that it must pass the same to the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha must investigate the charges, and at the time we give an opportunity to the president to sit in the proceedings and defend himself, and after the Rajya Sabha decides and proves he was suffering from such type of violation of constitution, then he further passed the bill with the 2/3 of the total membership of the house, and later the moment when the Rajya Sabha also passes the bill, on that particular day onwards the president gets impeached from the presidential office. You don't require any such type of the presidential assent later in this condition. So this is the overall impeachment process of the president. So you have to remember two things here. For the introduction you require 1/4 support. For the passage you require 2/3 of the members support, and 14 days advance notice can be given for the presidential removal process. And if you observe, I referred for the presidential to take care of such type of the presidential civil proceedings, you have to give 2 months of the prior notice. So all such type of the things we refer it as the immunities we provided to the president, even his removal process is undertaken by the parliament, but still some of the immunities can be provided to the president. He must be informed prior, and along with that he must be provided such type of the opportunity to sit in the house and defend against such investigating charges. So such type of immunity was provided. Until now no president got impeached in the Indian democratic process. This was only the process we explained till now, and practically till now we didn't impeach any such type of the president yet. And can the presidential office be vacant? Yes, it can be vacant. And which condition the presidential position can be vacant? Let's see. When the President of India completes the term period of the 5 years, what is the term period of the president? That is the 5 years of time period. Once the 5 years of term period is over, his position automatically becomes vacated. And along with that, if the president resigns by putting it forward, the resignation letter to be submitted to the Vice President of India. To whom the president can submit the resignation letter? That is to the Vice President of India. And if in case the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha initiates any such type of the impeachment charges, then they stand valid, he is removed. At the time also the position becomes vacant, and if he dies in the office suddenly, and if in case the Supreme Court declares his election as invalid, under all these conditions the positions become vacant. I am always referring the vacancy is different from the absence. The vacancy is nothing but he is not going to continue that position authenticatingly. That is the vacancy. Absence is he can resume the position after some time. But here the vacancy is different. Under which condition the vacancy can be created? If they ask that one, that is the completion of the 5 years of term period. If in case there is a sudden death occurred to the position of the president, or if he is voluntarily giving up the resignation letter to the Vice President of India, or in case if he is removed from the position either with the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha initiation, or if in case the Supreme Court declared that his election whatever we have conducted it was invalid. Under all these conditions the president position becomes vacant, and whenever the office of the president is vacant because of the whatever the above reasons we explained till now, under any such type of the particular reason, if the president position falls vacant, then who will resume the position here? Then the vice president discharge the duties of the president if the vice president falls vacant. And we have some difference here. Whenever whatever here the above criteria is there, in case the president completes his position of the term of 5 years, at the time the vice president does not hold the chair. Here the existing president only continues the chair unless until the new president come and occupies the position. That means we have the little bit of difference here. For the remaining cases, the vice president resumes the charge. That is, whenever there is a resignation, whenever there is a removal, whenever there is a sudden death, or whenever the Supreme Court orders the election is invalid. Under all these conditions, the vice president acts as a president, except one. Whenever his term period is over, that is the 5 years of term period is over, under that condition the vice president does not hold the chair. The existing president only continues the position unless and until the next president occupies the position. And again I am referring here, the existing president is eligible for the re-election process here. So we have such type of the difference here, that is the vice president discharge the duties as the president, but if the later office is falls vacant except on the expiration of the term, under the remaining all the cases the vice president only act as a president. And as per the Presidential Act 1969, in case the vice president office also vacant, normally we say when the president is absent except on the expiration of the term period. You have to remember all these points very well. Why? Because in the examination they ask all these minor corners. Generally whenever the president position falls vacant, the vice president only act as a president, but only one exception here is when his term period is over, the vice president does not hold the chair, the existing president continues. And if in case the president position falls vacant, then who holds the chair? That is the vice president. In case the vice president position also falls vacant, then the Chief Justice of India act as a president. In case the vice president and the Chief Justice of India both positions are vacant, at the time the Supreme Court judge, senior judge, he act as a president. That means according to Presidential Act of 1969, if the vice president position is vacant, the Chief Justice of India, if in his absence the Supreme Court senior judge discharge the functions of the president unless until the new president gets elected. And if in case there is an absence to the position of the president, right? Vacant is different. The absence is maybe because of the ill health or maybe because of some of the personal exigencies, he was unable to perform the duties as a president. At the time, the vice president only take care as a president unless until the president again resumes the position. This is only a temporary position unless until the existing president come back with some of the reasons, then unless until that period the vice president continue as a president. Otherwise this is the position. Normally the president, in case of absence the vice president, in case of the absence the Chief Justice of India, in case of his vacancy also we give the charge to the senior most person of the Supreme Court judge. What are the powers and functions of the President of India? we divide the different type of the powers of the president into different criteria, like the executive powers, the legislative powers, the military powers, the diplomatic powers, the judiciary powers, the financial powers. In this way, the powers of the president can be divided into different areas. And let's see the executive powers of the president. And for every executive action that the Indian government is taking, that is taking on the name of the president, that is, all the executive actions can be taken in the name of the president, and he may or may not make rules to simply the transaction of business of the central government. He appoints the Attorney General of India, that is, his executive action is to appoint the Attorney General of India. He is also one of the executive we refer, and his appointment can be done by the President of India. And the Attorney General of India remuneration also can be fixed by the President of India. That means the term, how much of term the Attorney General of India enjoys his position, and along with that the remuneration of Attorney General of India, all these can be fixed by the President of India. This is one of the important executive action. Any such type of the executive actions can be taken by the central government. All those executive actions can be done in his name. And along with that, if we see, he appoints different type of the dignitaries here. Along with the Attorney General of India, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, he is considered as a such type of auditor of the central government. All the public posts, entire the public tax fund, everything, expenditure, entire the public fund can be audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. His appointment can be done by the President, and the Chief Election Commissioner and the other election commissioners, their appointment also can be done by the President, and along with that the chairman and members of the Union Public Service Commissions, and along with that the state governors, all these appointments, and the Finance Commission of India chairman and its members, all these dignitaries can be appointed by the President of India, and he seeks administrative information from the Union government. And in our constitution it has written that there should be a Prime Minister to submit for the consideration of Council of Ministers any such type of the matters, whichever the Council of Ministers are taking a decision, all those matters can be informed to the President with the Prime Minister. That means the Prime Minister can act as a channel between the Council of Ministers and the President in our democratic process. And it has written in such a way that all the matters, all the decisions of the Council of Ministers must be informed to the President, and such type of the responsibility was provided to the Prime Minister here. And along with all these things, some of the national commissions, like the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, the National Commission for Backward Classes, the National Commission for Women, all such type of the National Commissions appointments, all those chairpersons appointments can be done by the President of India. And along with that, he appoints the Interstate Council, the members of the Interstate Council. This Interstate Council function is to address the disputes arised between the different type of the states, from one state to another state. Whenever there was such type of the disputes, internal disputes, the Interstate Council must address such type of the disputes aroused. And along with this, he appoints the administrators of the union territories. The union territories are under the control of the central government. We don't have such type of the separate governments for the union territories like the states enjoy, except few like the Delhi, and you have the Puducherry. Except that one, the remaining all the union territories, the administration is under the control of the central government. All these administrators can be appointed by the President of India, and he can declare any area as scheduled area, any such type of the area in the country, in the Indian territory, can be declared as a scheduled area by the president and has the power with the administration of such type of scheduled areas and the tribal areas. That means he create according to the requirement of any area as a scheduled area, and he only decides and he enjoys all the administrative power regarding to that type of the scheduled area and the tribal area. This type of the scheduled area bifurcation can be done in the, such type of demarcation can be done in the Indian context just to protect their unique nature and its unique characteristic of that particular area, to protect their unique culture in fact. So all such type of the powers can be enjoyed by the president in the form of the executive powers. That means if you see, he has done so many appointments, whether it is the Attorney General of India, whether it is the states governors, or whether it is the national commissions or different type of the union territories administrations, the scheduled areas, all these executive actions can be done by the President of India. That's why we segregated all these powers of the president as executive powers of the president. And let's see the legislative powers of the president and how the legislative powers of the president was given in the constitution. And he summons or prorogues the parliament and dissolves the Lok Sabha. And if you observe in the parliament class in the previous videos, I have given a clarity what is summoning, what is prorogation, what is dissolution. The summoning is nothing but the calling up for the session. He orders the houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, please come and summon. That means the summoning, whether it is a joint sitting or whether it is a conducting of the normal session, the president call up, nothing but summons the houses, and he prorogues the parliament, nothing but whenever the session is over, whether it is a budget session, whether it is a winter session, whether it is a monsoon session, once the session is over, there is an urgent sine given by the speaker. That means without specifying any further time of meeting, the speaker in the Lok Sabha says this is the urgent sine of the session. That means she won't give you a clarity of the further meeting. After giving of the urgent sine by the speaker, immediately after few days, the president call up for the prorogation. That means it is the end of the particular session. That means if it is a monsoon session, if the president gives the prorogue of the session, nothing but it is the end of the session. And what is dissolution? That is, once the Lok Sabha, in case the time period is over, that means the 5 years of term period of the Lok Sabha is over, suppose, and along with that maybe the ruling party lost the majority in the house. Under any such type of the condition, the president called for the dissolution of the house. That means the existing Lok Sabha is no more to be continued as a Lok Sabha, and the fresh Lok Sabha can be formed in the different formats, and all such type of the things can be taken care by the Lok Sabha. And regarding the matters of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, that is